Hello there everyone, UXW Bill coming to you recorded live from the kitchen table by virtue of the fact that I have the house all to myself over this weekend. What fun that is. Means I can do things that are normally frowned upon, like making electronics related videos here at the kitchen table. You ever notice that a lot of people never get around to changing the batteries in their uninterruptible power supply units? I certainly have. What we have here is an APC back UPS 250 from about the middle of 1993. Still has the old style American Power Conversion logo on the front of it. And I bought this for about $1 in a thrift store. Came with, I kid you not, the original battery, 9310, the 10th week of 1993. So a 22-year-old battery at this point, probably a completely lost cause. But here's the part where you think I'm going to be absolutely crazy. You probably already know that I am if you've watched any of my previous videos at all. Amazingly, this battery still has some charge left, although it's by no means anywhere near enough to allow the uninterruptible power supply to do anything other than make a very sad, moaning beep-like kind of sound when the plug is pulled. But this must be a pretty low hours unit, because when you turn the power switch on, the LED inside it is still nice and exceptionally bright. It's easily the brightest of any of these that I have, which isn't too bad for its being probably the oldest working uninterruptible power supply in this house, or at least the oldest potentially working uninterruptible power supply in this house. So here's what I'm going to try. You might remember I did this quite a while ago, a couple months, maybe a year, something like that. I went ahead and popped all the caps off of a dead battery from an uninterruptible power supply. Thought it was hopelessly dead, put some fresh water in the cells, and it came back to life. Now, I don't expect that this is going to work very well for a 22-year-old battery, but it's got no serious bulging or splits to the case. And as previously noted, it's not very strong, but it's not completely dead. And it costs almost nothing to try, not to mention that it's probably better than almost anything that's on television. As you can tell, these little rubber caps, which are the valves that regulate the exchange of gases inside and out of the battery, because a lead-acid battery that's being charged can emit hydrogen gas, which is why you want to treat them very carefully and why they are oftentimes called out as an explosion hazard in real life. These little valves, their aim is also to keep the liquid electrolytes mix suspended inside the battery, the sulfuric acid in amongst the lead plates. And you can see these have all been sucked down pretty good. That one made a little sucking noise when I took it off. Sometimes they'll make a pretty good pop, and sometimes you end up tearing them. Did you hear that one? That one kind of went shoo. Let's go ahead and try this one. I won't say anything while I bring it off. The APC charging circuits and the charging circuits inside most uninterruptible power supplies seem to run a bit hot. Now, I suppose that under circumstances where the power goes out a lot more often than it does around here, hush bird clock, that the battery never really gets overcharged. But if you live in an area with reliable power, well, I think what ultimately kills a lot of these batteries is the fact that their electrolyte simply gets boiled dry. And when the battery has cooled down at a later time, it actually puts negative pressure, vacuum pressure, on each of the cells. Sometimes you can tell there'll be a little rattling noise produced inside the battery. One that does that's probably pretty far gone. But let's go ahead, put some fresh, clean, distilled water in here. You can use tap water. For a battery like this, it might not make a whole heck of a lot of difference. It doesn't usually take a lot. There will be excess, so you need to devise a plan to clean it up. And of course, messing around inside of uninterruptible power supplies, very dangerous thing to do. Don't do it unless you have a very deep understanding of what's going on and how to work on one safely, because there are very nasty parts inside of them, some of which may be directly connected to the AC line, which is a lot more fatal than most high voltage circuits would be, just because of the essentially unlimited current that's available. So now we'll let this battery sit and cook for a while, and when I think it's absorbed some water back into its plates and might be salvageable, we'll hook it up to the UPS, let it cook for a couple more hours, and then we'll have the grand run-up. See if this battery really stands a chance of recovery. I know, probably not going to recover, but I just had to try it. It excited me. Normal people don't get excited about stuff like this, I'm sure. Back in a few, thanks to the magic of video editing. Well, here it is a couple of hours later, and as awesome as it would have been to tell you all that this battery came back to life and works, well, maybe not perfectly, but certainly reaches its specified output voltage and can carry a load for at least a little bit of time, well, you gotta be realistic. I certainly did not expect that to happen, and it definitely did not. We're at about 6.94 volts. It was at about 7.2 when I took it off of the charger just now, so this battery has definitely had it. Still kind of a fun little experiment to putter around with, so thank you for watching, and as always, feel free to leave a comment if you have one.